Also, for about 250 years or longer, there had been planes flying around the world and things happening around the world that had a lot to do with me. Like I said, even President Washington, which was actually technically after me, and not really a president, um, he didn't know certain things and he found out certain things. Also, every consecutive, see, it really goes me and then like Reagan or some other presidents, and then the whole numbers or the way the presidents are is all wrong with the way it actually was. Um, but certain people, like I said, certain people found out about the film vaults. There were lots of film vaults in Germany and Russia and other places, including America, that had film of certain things which proved that certain people were lying. People like the Kennedys, people like I said, there was interviews with the Kennedys when they were poor. There's interviews. All my people that were going to become president, there was this initial interview with them talking about their life, talking about how their life would change, talking about what they wanted to do with the presidency, talking about every leader actually on the earth. There's film of them talking about how this job would change their life, blah blah. Um, that is unknown, and those records have been burned in a supposed fire. There's lots of film of people before they were president, before they were actors, before they were hired by my group that was supposedly burned and lost. So it shows the Kennedys talking about how their life would change, how this job would change, what they plan to do, blah blah, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of stuff, or there's all kinds of information that I knew about that was in film vaults that nobody knew about. So certain groups, like for instance, even like a lot of people didn't really understand what the job or office would actually bring. Like I said, everyone there was always like, okay, you're about to be president, or not you're about to be president, but you're gonna apply to be president. Um, what's your life like now? Blah 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 blah. And then there were also consecutive interviews as they went through their life as president. Now those film records are lost or gone or missing. Like I said, the Kennedy family doesn't want those records to be found, of course, because they want to look like this elite group that was always rich. But they weren't rich. They were dirt poor. A lot of other groups that became into office, that became president, were dirt poor originally. And then got money and power and whatever through the government. So it shows massive abuse of the presidency in America. So anyway, there's lots of stuff. Like for instance, the aerial flyovers showing that who had airplanes first, when they had aircraft, how they had aircraft. Anyway, there was lots of stuff, lots of film, actual visual evidence of events, real events, the way they really happened. Like even the building of Disneyland. Like I said, everything, every project that I ever had a part of, there is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of film because I was very rich and because I was creator of humanity and lots of people love me. There's hours of film of aerial flyovers of every site that was ever built. Epcot Center, every city, everywhere. Before it was built, during it was built, during when it was being built, and after it was built. There was film evidence of everything on the earth practically. A lot of those art records were supposedly burned in a fire. So technically they're gone now. So, and I knew this because I am the creator of humanity and basically this really old ruler of the earth and all that other stuff. And so this gets in the way of the supposed Illuminati. This gets in the way of the supposed rich people, which just wanted to just confiscate people's houses and stuff. And it really wasn't a problem until they put me in a coma and tried to lobotomize me. The Illuminati did. Or whatever. Anyway, a lot of the crime, a lot of the wars actually have to do with me and this fact of how I was overseeing the earth, overseeing humanity as creator, and now it's going to show how these people were not great people or horrible people, or they were part of this thing. And there's a lot of things that are that eventually come out, that already came out. Like I said, I was in a coma. Nobody talked to me. Nobody went into my room. I never talked to anyone. I was a child. I was put in a coma, called crazy, and then lobotomized. The future still found out, and they were upset. So, and 2 Kennedys died for it, I guess, maybe. Like I said, probably whoever would have been in the presidency after the Kennedy would have probably died, and probably the Kennedys were going to die anyway. Like I say, the truth came out anyway. I mean, and besides, like I say, the Kennedys actually stole some grocery stores from some other families, like Russian mobsters or something. Like one family, they used the presidency and an eminent domain. They were going around just taking people's property at first, just saying, we need it for the government. That's another reason why they did the war, was because they could say, well, it's strategically valuable, we need that oil refinery, and just took it away from the people who had built it and the people who had invested money in it. So there was a lot of animosity towards the Kennedy family, and they were using the presidency to eliminate or deal with this. So that's another reason why Kennedy died, and why Kennedy's brother died, and then the other brother died. So, because they had used the government and eminent domain to just take away people's property without even paying for it. And then later on, they did pay for it, and then I added the rule of there has to be a reason why they take it away. And even then, they said strategic value, and they took away oil refineries, saying that America could have a war, and therefore they had to take away that oil refinery from the rightful owners and employees. And usually they dropped the pay and all kinds of other stuff. It was bad. It was really bad. So anyway, there's a lot of, like I said, they pissed off the Scottish, the IRA or whatever. They pissed them off. They pissed off the Russian mob. They pissed off quite a few different people because they were doing all this stuff. And then it comes out, of course, me and the coma, and the fact that one of their brothers actually became a doctor, so he could put me into a medically induced coma, and then lobotomize me. So. Anyway, and then there's other lobotomies that they were doing to other people that were rich. Like, for instance, people would, and also how they originally made it so when you died, you just lost all your property to the government. And then later on, they also did it so children would be adopted by their people, and then children would be put in a insane asylum or put on drugs or overdose and stuff. There was some really, really bad stuff that the Illuminati were doing, because they could get away with it, because they had doctors and stuff and people in courts. Anyway, there is a lot of bad stuff that people don't know about. Mostly it has to do with me and my people and the people that knew me, that were working for me, and how they wanted to eliminate those people so they could take what they took, basically, because they didn't earn any of it. So they were just using the government just like Russia or any other country. They just saw America as just another... It's like, so what if we stand for freedom? They're still going to take it. So anyway, it turns out America was not that great at all. In fact, America did some really horrible things. It wasn't really America, though. It was just some poor families that thought they could get away with whatever they wanted. Anyway, a billion years later, people find out. Like I said, if they didn't find out, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I would be in a coma or dead. So they found out. So without me telling them. Yeah. So anyway, and like I said, I wasn't the only one. I was just the last person they could actually get to me. They took out everyone else before they finally took me out. So anyway, they didn't really understand that I am Lucifer and the creator of humanity. What can I say? I was. They found out. And then it was too late by the time they found out.